That's it. It's finally over. There isn't anything else I could possibly say about Camila Cuevas that wouldn't be repeating myself.
So that was a lie.
Oh, you sweet summer child. You have no idea how bad things really are. 8 months ago, I made a video titled Camila Cuevas Beyond Redemption. It had universal praise and everyone except Senate just adored the video. I also put my gosh darn soul into it, and I think it came out pretty good, especially because it was the last time I wanted to talk about the Camila Cuevas stuff. Like, ever. But then a lot of stuff happened with some of Camila's biggest critics, and now I feel almost morally responsible to make a video covering every part of this nonsense. So here is a combination of my Camila Cuevas trilogy, with extra bits when needed. The highs, there aren't any highs. The lows, the very low lows, Jesus Christ. This is how I think Camila Cuevas ruined her career. DX director's cut. But before that, look at these numbers. Aren't they just pathetic? Hi, I'm Bored Oranges, wannabe millionaire and part-time influencer. Sorry, I gagged. I want to hit 100k before I die of old age, and you can help by hitting subscribe. Only about 20% of the people who watch my videos are, so if you like my content and find yourself coming back, then hit subscribe. It has a cool little rainbow effect every time I say it now. Subscribe. Subscribe. I have a Discord, we host bi-weekly events, and the members are just the nicest community of people. I have a Twitter and Instagram, which you should check out if you want to see my unhinged posting. And if you're feeling generous, you could give me your money. My legal team has informed me that that last sentence might give the wrong impression. Channel memberships give you all the benefits listed on screen, so do that if you have money to spare. I really need to buy a third Nintendo Switch. Anyway, back to the video.
In the beginning,
I won't even attempt to tell a lie and say that Undertale isn't my favorite game ever. From the quality of the game and the talent of the fans, this community is just so welcoming and wholesome, when you look in the right places anyway. One thing that really stood out to me was the quality and popularity of these animations. My personal favorite would be Underverse, while my favorite song is Bad to the Bone. Wait, I didn't write that. No, seriously, who put that in the script? There are plenty more of these animations and songs that aren't bad to the bone, but they're pretty alright. One popular series that comes to mind is Glitch Tale, which brings us to the topic of this video. Camila Cuevas is an animation YouTuber of 1 million subscribers who's primarily known for her Undertale and Deltarune remixes and her amazing artwork. Oh, and this animation called Glitch Tale, but who cares? While this would be the point where I talk about a bunch of red flags I saw, I can't really say there are many with Camila. One might even say that Camila did nothing wrong. Well, until she did. Golden question for anyone on the internet. What's synonymous with the animation community? It's drama. It's always drama. Outside of a few incidents of Camila calling people slurs, it looked like she was doing quite well avoiding the black hole that is drama and building up a nice and reliable fan base. Well, until she met a YouTuber called Hopeless Peaches. I'm not going to bother with an entire recap of this whole dumpster fire of stomach bile for the second time, so I'll just bring up the important stuff. Okay, so a bunch of people had grievances of Peaches and decided to voice it conveniently at the same time. Almost like they were friends or something. Haha, wink wink, nudge nudge. The links are in the description, please join the Discord. Luke makes a video and Camila in the comments talks about her experience of Peaches. Wait, they met previously? Well, let's go back and compare the truth to her claims. Oh god, too far. Camila and Peaches began to work on art designs where a disagreement happened which led to Peaches making a post on Camila. Camila's recollection of the events goes something like this. Oh my god, she did the same thing to me a few years ago. And I still feel sick to my stomach every time I see stuff about her because it brings me back to the days where I was bullied. She was a small YouTuber at the time, and since I had a bigger channel, she really tried to frame me as the arsehole of the story. Never once was I rude of her, she was a friend of mine. And one day after we collaborated for a piece of art, next day she posted this huge public post about where everything was a lie, stating that I had stolen money from her and that I was harassing her and sending people to harass her. Multiple screenshots of her saying in other servers that I was bullying her, through DMs where the last time I had talked to her was like a month ago. She said I diminished her as an artist and as a person, and just spreaded so many lies about me, and everyone just believed her with no proof, because of course she didn't have any proof. Everything was made up. The second I started defending myself and showing that she was actually lying, she pulled out her quote-unquote depression. And that is all this drama she brought herself in was causing her suicidal thoughts, and that she needed a break. I was devastated. I ended up in a hospital over how stressed out I was, and I still am. To this day, there's a fair amount of people that are convinced I'm some sort of scumbag thief, when it's the other way around. It baffles me that she continues to do crap to other people, and I can't do anything about it because the internet works right now. It's all about big channel bad, small channel good. I still got every single screenshot of her shit talking on my back, and the DMs we had where it shows that she was the one who made up all this BS. I'm so angry right now. She provided no proof. This would be the part where I joke about no one being dumb enough to take this claim seriously, but we all know where this is going.
But one of the people she screwed over the most, who also happens to be a bigger YouTuber than Creepshow Art, is Camila Cuevas. I'm probably butchering that. Now, I'm making this video for a couple reasons. One, because Peaches has continued to lie about me and what happened, and only deletes what she said afterward because she gets called out for it. And two, because Camila wanted me to. She commented on my video, and soon enough a friend of hers got her into contact with me, and she made a Google Doc with all the evidence that I'll link to.
God, this is so embarrassing. Camila wouldn't even provide any evidence until she was finally criticized nearly a month later, where this evidence was, I don't join chats unless I have some control on how long my screen can see it. Peaches doesn't join in chat she doesn't have control over, because she can't delete them later on. So it was really hard to get a hold of this evidence I'm about to show, and why it took me so long to add on to it. Let's analyze this real fast. I hate to say that someone is taking the least charitable interpretation of someone, but what the fuck is this? I'm a very paranoid person, so I don't like my messages to just be on the internet forever. That's why Snapchat is so popular. But screw it, yeah, Peaches is Satan or something. Except I found out earlier that at the same time she was supporting me through this. She was the one probably spreading these rumors to begin with. And even if it wasn't her who started it, she was one of the people spreading them. She's so friggin' short, what the hell? She traces all of her references, but just really badly to the point where it's not even following the lines, lol. She cut context.
Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
But no, dear viewer, we must remember that Peaches never apologized for her actions.
Except she actually did, so I don't really know why she said that.
And Camila didn't accept it, which is very funny because she's the same person who said this. How does one start with, ooh, we must learn to accept each other, and end with, your apology was dog water? You're so fucked. If everyone was just like me, then the world would be so much better. I know y'all are tired of this shit, believe me, I am too. Funny you mentioned being tired of this drama, Camila. While it seemed like Peaches had let it go, you didn't. I don't want to ruin everything just because some 20-year-old woman can't let this go. She will, only if you let go too. Let go of the account you have right now, all of them. With you saying the only way you would let it go is if Peaches deleted all of her socials? Fuck off, mate. Really, it wasn't anywhere near as deep as you made it out to be. And you were going on and on and on and on about it whenever you got the chance. Thing is, you didn't let this go for 3 years. That was enough time for me to have massive character development while you're still butthurt over a post a YouTuber made when they had no following and apologized over. Mean-spirited, bad faith, and petty doesn't begin to cover how I feel about you. Especially since you accepted the apology. Being a dickhead wouldn't be enough of a reason for me to make a video anyway. I am a certified piss spiller after all. So now it's time we move on to the present, with the recent allegations being levied at Camila. On October 14th, a Twitter user came out with a thread discussing the actions taken by Camila after being notified of a groomer in her Discord server. Camila Cuevas seems to care more about her public image than about following a moral compass of doing the simple act of removing a groomer from her server. July 27th, 2020. Okay, I know this might be a bad time, but that was the day before my birthday. Isn't that hilarious, lad? A notepad document was made by me and 2 other mods, making Camila aware of the actions Veer had committed against me and many others. Camila's reply? Downplayed it to dating, and cared more about her being made a clown of, and said I lied to her by not telling her, and proceeded to get angry at me for not sharing the victims who wished to not be made public. Hey, how are you holding up? Can I ask you something? How many people knew this whole thing? To my knowledge, 5 in total. Knew about something or had something happen to them. Who? That I cannot say without their permission. Sorry. Some don't want to be shown. They just want to move past it. They have my word. The ones I'm allowed to say are me and Red. You know what? I'm not mad. I know you're not. Far as I'm concerned, they could have dated the whole mod squad behind my back and I still wouldn't be mad. What really pains me is that I was made a clown of. That. My mum always told me that online friends and IRL ones are different because you get to know them better in all aspects. And I'm salty because I think she might be right. That's all. Please explain. You all knew about this. Everyone but me. And I acted as if everything was rainbows and sunshine between everyone. When no, it wasn't. Are you real?
This is fucked. This is not right. This is not cool.
Camila, rubbing all 4 of her brain cells together, is upset that people didn't tell her someone was a groomer without a proper case, and when she was presented with said case, she didn't care? This right here proves it. Your intelligence and ability to emphasize are directly tied to the amount of subs you have. Holy hell, this is bad, only for it to get just a little bit worse. I explained why I didn't tell her, what Veer forced me to do back in 2015 to 2016, where Veer was age 20, asked me, age 25, to convince Camila to send nudes to him, and proceeds to explain how she wasn't mad at Veer. After this person showed evidence of these claims, after this person exposed their heart and all of their vulnerabilities to you, Camila must have immediately removed the groomer from the server and she fucking banned them! I just heard about this whole issue of you accusing the mods and admins of horrible crap, and I did my research about it, and now that I fully understand what transpired between Red and Veer, with the text and all, I understand why you were enraged with him, and given all the horrible crap you've dealt with, I can only imagine how painful it was with you. First of all, why don't you talk about me about these things? If you feel like the mods or admins were protecting Veer from this BS, I would have acted before. None of the mods or admins knew about this whole issue. I talked to Red and she confirmed the details about it. I went ahead and banned him from the GT Discord server because I can't let these type of things slide. As I explained to my mods and just now to you, every single of you guys is important to me, and there are things I just won't let slide. One of them is what Veer did. I understand Red not telling me for a while about the details of how it all went down because she felt embarrassed and ashamed and was being vague about it, but it'd have been so much easier if I knew before. If out of the other accusations and rumors spread about this, remember, I was 14, Camila. Yeah, him talking dumb crap about this was indeed in poor taste. He's changed drastically since then, and he completely stopped mentioning anything remotely sexual as soon as she changed to Discord. The years you were gone changed him for the good, and all of those confos are things he deeply regrets doing and knows were stupid and in poor taste. But what's done is done and can't be undone. There is no way you just it is what it is. A grooming victim. Holy fuck, this is bad. There are only 2 reasons I can imagine Camila removed this victim from the server. Reason 1, she's as dumb as a bag of rocks. There's a chance she genuinely just doesn't understand how severe these allegations are, and as a result is removing the person for potentially spreading this in the server without it being that big of a deal. And option 2, she's dumb as a bag of rocks. Again, PR edition. From the DM conversation, it seems Camila is more focused to make sure that no one found out instead of actually bringing the person to justice. These DMs show that she doesn't really care, as it was a long time ago, and a temp ban would suffice to get everyone off her ass. It looks a lot better to silence the victim without anyone knowing than admit that you had a bad seed in your community and that you were blind to that. I think Crystal Flame's post sums it up the best. Camila Cuevas cares more about public image than the right thing. This is a huge betrayal of trust that many people have placed in her. And to be honest, I have to agree, Camila's overall persona online is quite nice and wholesome, but in almost every instance of a leaked DM or screenshot, she's anything but that. She's a lying, spiteful prick who cares more about how the public sees her than actually having a moral compass. In my opinion, sorry, I had to make that clear apparently. Everything I've shown in this video should hopefully explain why I personally believe this.
Camila Cuevas is an animator, maybe too strong of a word. Camila is an artist with 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. This was mainly due to her really terrible and poorly written series, Glitch Tale. This series is similar to McDonald's in the way that McDonald's classifies as food. This sure is an Undertale fan animation, most of the time when Camila can be bothered to actually animate things. No matter how much randos on the internet want to say that Undertale is a mature game, the majority of its fan base are children. At the time of its release, I was 9 years old. Thankfully, I wasn't in the fan base at the time. However, people much younger than me were, and unfortunately with fandoms like this, a monster is always waiting to exploit these younger children. The discussion of the responsibilities creators have regarding their why is my door creaking? The discussion of the responsibilities creators have regarding their audience is something I'm very interested in. This is because I feel every creator deserves a different answer. For example, Dream.
I'm tired of suffering.
I'd say he's way too close to his fans and relies on them as a shield, which could cause a bunch of parasocial weirdos to obsess over his face and baby pictures. In Camila's case, I believe that she is obligated to protect her majority minor audience. And if you haven't watched my last 2 videos, you should know she didn't do that. A small recap on that, by the way. Camila was informed about a groomer in her Discord server. Instead of dealing with the situation appropriately, she silenced the victims, lied about banning the groomer, hid all of this from the public, public and never addressed it until Crystal Flame had built up the bravery to give this another shot. Thankfully this time, people did catch wind of this and began to investigate. This caused Camila to go into damage control mode and release a god-awful apology where she blamed everything on being in a dark place or the In my video, I said I had high hopes after this apology, and I was dead wrong because everything that got released is why I believe Camila is beyond redemption. Personal issues aside, I want to take a minute to tell everyone to watch these videos. Hopeless Peaches and Queen Seraphina did a really good job breaking everything down and really getting into the nitty-gritty of the entire situation. And I really want to give my props to them, as these are required videos to watch if you want to truly understand the depravity of the Glitchtail fandom. Honestly, it takes a lot of fortitude to sit through some of the darkest chat logs I've ever had the displeasure of reading, and I really respect their ability to do so. Those videos, along with Crystal Flame's Ko-Fi, are linked in the description. But enough about us. Let's talk about you. You are the one person who I genuinely thought could come back from something like this, but you decided you'd keep sniffing your own arm crack instead, and now we're here. You have become the first trilogy on this channel. Congrats. This video sucked, by the way. Oh, it's unlisted now? Okay, sure. Anyway, before I rip this video to shreds, let's talk about everything that occurred after my video's release. Camila's server was just a hub for pedophiles, as Veer wasn't the only person who was exploiting children. One of these predators was even playing double agent for Camila to Peaches. I can't be the one to like post whatever huge post we make, cause she'd just be like big YouTuber bully small YouTuber emoji. It has to be one of you guys, so I just reblogged the hell out of it. Kami, I'll play the fool for you. Oh whoa. I mean, for Peaches. I make her think I'm on her side. Oh whoa. She doesn't know this, so oh shot, she's speaking to me. As I said before, Hopeless Peaches breaks this down in a much more calm and developed manner than I ever could, because I would have just screamed for an hour if I were in her shoes. I don't want to focus too much on Peaches, but some of the logs that have been shared just need to be documented forever. Thanks. Well, Veer has been wanting to tell you something for a long time. He's scared to talk to you about this, but he's being strong and talking to you about it right now. Okay, what is it? He's been contemplating telling you this for an hour. I noticed. What is it? It's about his feelings for you and what he's doing for you, what he thinks you wouldn't understand. I have extreme desires that I fight off literally every single day. Technically, I'm a sexual addict that feels physical pain when I don't handle situations. Naturally, I can't talk to you about this stuff like this, so I just ignore it and fight off all the urges and stuff, even though other women offer to help me take care of this horrible problem. I've been fighting it off our entire relationship, and I was prepared to just feel the weight of the world off my shoulders until we truly got together, or whatever. But God, Kami, it's so hard, and I don't think you understand it. But how could you? I just hope you appreciate my efforts, because it's one of the most difficult things I've ever done. Oh, I don't know it's going to be like 2 to 4 years before anything like that even becomes remotely possible between us. But I've just been noticing changes in myself and my attitude brought on by this problem not being resolved. And I don't know what to do about it. Now, I'm sure someone is asking why I read off sexually charged messages Veer had sent to Camila. And while I already gagged at the messages and took 4 showers, what makes it much worse is that a 14-year-old was present during all of this. For some reason, Camila is more focused on the fact that Veer is horny posting instead of the fact that he admitting to having CP in the form of nude from a minor, and that he was using a 14-year-old as his wingman. Camila was 23 at the time and Veer was a year younger. Why is a 14-year-old in this chat? That to me is this entire situation. Camila time after time was informed about these terrible people and their terrible actions, and not once did she ever do anything about it. She has always been like this. Whether it was the way she tried handling Peaches by using her friends as whistleblowers, or the way she handled real life group victims coming to her. The person with the platform, the person with the server about how one of her friends used it and abused them, and her response was to hide it. Not you. Imagine if someone lied about it. It feels as wrong as that. Okay? To handle this properly, I need you to tell those YouTubers that the solution is being handled in private with the ones involved. You cannot expose blank to the public like this. Even before our chat, this can't be shared anywhere because she never gave you consent to do so. I've shared it with nobody else and don't plan to. It'd be better if you go off and delete those, so you don't need to feel tempted to. It's not on your right to choose what to do with those. She has never cared about anyone but herself. She cares about how useful or entertaining people are to her. That's why she she was fine playing League with her group. That's one of the reasons she was fine sheltering so many predators. The other is because she would go to enormous lengths just to protect her perfect image. This image that she was this kind person who would never do anything bad or even misuse her platform. A fragile facade that would break the very minute she was in a private setting. This is a joke. What? I'm up to date. Ellipsis. And then proceed to do things that are inappropriate is not how it works. Look, I don't give a flying fiddle if you want to dub an entire movie in this server, but the fact that you and everyone else involved thought it was okay to do so in front of 30 greenies in the audience listens to VC is completely unacceptable. Understandable. You and Simon will be demodded to just mods, and the only reason I'm not considering a ban is because we need mods right now, sadly. I can't even believe how you or anyone else thought this was okay thing to do. I have no idea what was in your head, as if there weren't going to be consequences for doing such an irresponsible thing. I'm more than disappointed. The fact that both Crystal and Simon were about to receive a harsher punishment than the person who literally grew kids is the best way I could ever show this. She admitted that she didn't give a flying heck about a minor being shown porn by adults. She cares that people are around to see it. The first like 10 minutes of this video isn't even the reason I made the video. This was just extra stuff I needed people to know about, because honestly, I did drop the ball originally and I will own up to that. That's a huge mark. I said Camila's original post would lead to good things. Passport oranges, you are a liar. Camila's response to the accusations that she's a psychopathic pet offender is one of the most frustrating videos I've ever watched. The very second someone posted the video to my server, I instantly downloaded the video because, and I hope I'm not surprising a soul when I say this, Camila removed the video. Tell me something was made for PR without telling me that you made this video for PR. You twat waffle. If you really meant to give anyone any closure, you would have owned up to what you did and f***ed off, because let's be honest, you can't handle having a platform. If I get going, I'm not gonna stop. So let's just talk about this god awful video. This video was quite long, but I'm breaking it down for some time since a lot of this video is just Camila throwing a pity party for herself.
Hang on. Antes de empezar, va a ser la mayoría del video en inglés. Hay una parte que va a estar en español. Voy a tratar de subtitularlo después, no sé cuándo. But for now, I'm going to speak in English, and I'm sorry if I take too long to talk. I'm not used to express my feelings. I never have. It's a problem I've always had, and it's worse when I talk. So, I wasn't going to use my channel for this. I swore to myself I didn't want to use my channel for something that wasn't art related, but I think it's got to the point where I feel I have to, not only for the people involved, but also for me and my mental state, like the things I feel that I have to say publicly. If you don't know about the topic or don't care, just close the video. Honestly, like, who cares?
Just based on the way that she has behaved throughout all of this, and for the past 8 and a bit years, this was said just so less people would know. That is the only reason I could think of.
I'm going to start by talking about my experience with the guy that you might have heard, Veer. If you had the misfortune to read his name in one of my works, he I knew him for over 10 years. I think we met when I was 15, and well, things just started from there. I never was one to have many friends.
Are you serious? I'm sorry. Actually, I'm really not. I'm sorry, but did you seriously not even explain what Veer did? You shoo people off so less people hear about it, and yet you still can't even be bothered to even explain? Just get in there and make it about you, I guess. Camila spends too long talking about her own personal life in order to get some sympathy, and all I'll say is this.
Don't care, don't care, don't care, still don't.
Damn, that sucks. Really, it does. But that doesn't excuse any of your actions. Because as much as you try to pretend that you only knew for 2 years, you've known since 2014. Why are you just the worst person ever?
until he came along. Seemed like a nice guy. He liked the same things as I did, and that's how we just started talking. Sadly, I started to normalize behaviors that he had that are completely unacceptable, that for me were normal at the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna call BS on that one. This is something Camila does a lot during this video. She is quick to put the blame on Veer as the reason she acted like a twat. Thing is, I'm not doubting the fact that she was more lenient with him because they were dating. It's the fact that she tries to remove her own agency. You're in your 20s, and while I'm not saying you have your entire life figured out, you are still an adult who can think for themselves.
He forced me to call him my boyfriend, even though he knew I was asexual. Never once did I express any love for him. Nothing.
Now, as someone who has literally read your chat logs between the two of you in this very video, why even lie like that? God, despite everything, the face cam, no music, the video made to humanize you just makes you look more alienated. This reads like a company cutting ties with a person. Camila, no one is going to believe that. She's using Vera as a scapegoat for her own actions, and it's so obvious. I would have loved to see the brain dead comments under this video. I really would.
My social ineptitude and my own incompetence when it comes to manage a community led me to leave him in charge, because I just wanted to draw. The only point of having a community for me was to share my art with people that liked it. And I made the fatal mistake of trusting someone that wasn't a good person, and therefore the people around them. People that were in the Discord for years will probably notice that if it wasn't art related, I wouldn't really talk in the Discord, because I didn't have time, didn't want to either. I just wanted to draw. But sadly, at my back and in secret, he was doing awful things, all the things that he's accused of being inappropriate falls short to the things that he did. The emotional damage that he caused to people that were also my friends, I'll never forgive him for that.
Okay. English isn't Camila's first language, and I understand that, but her refusal to actually explain what Veer did and the part that she had in platforming him makes me sick. If she really wants to face consequences for her actions, then why won't she talk about her real actions? This video was a joke.
I didn't understand the severity of the situation. Back then, when it was first mentioned to me, I didn't have the full picture. I think it was 2020, and it was like, hey, Veer used to say this and that in the chat. But I was like, yeah, well, he did that to me every day as well. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Things like, an 18 or 19-year-old being in a relationship with someone like, that kind of gross things, I didn't consider them bad. I didn't know better. I should have. But it was my fault for being, I guess it's, yeah, that's where I'm sorry. It's hard for me to talk. It's my fault for being so independent of someone, just because it was the first friend I had, and that wasn't right.
This is a lot. Firstly, heck you mean you didn't understand the severity of the situation? It was spelled out to you with screenshots and everything. Secondly, and this one is for you viewers, notice how she doesn't specify what the age gap was. It's almost like every single person on the planet would have realized how terrible this would make her look. It's almost like she did that intentionally to avoid people finding out what she did. I wonder. I don't know why you're trying to portray yourself as another victim of Veer. You're awful, and it's awful that you pretend the only mistake you did was being too kind.
It wasn't until next year, I believe, that one of my friends told me the full story of the things he did. And that's when I was shocked, of course. I didn't think him capable or something like that. people would say, everyone would say, and started to tell me when this started to come to light, they told me that he will act completely different around me and a completely different person when he was interacting with my other friend group.
You were there. You were actually there during some of this and you saw no problem with it. When you saw it, you tried to hide it and told Crystal to delete the evidence. You weren't just an ignorant person in this. You, Camila, were protecting her because you couldn't be bothered to do your job as a creator. But no guys, her relative died.
Now I make myself responsible for the things committed in the, in the community chat, but I feel like I cannot take personal responsibility for the direct actions of these people that did this at my back and in secret. Now I'm gonna switch to Spanish.
Once again, I remind you all that Camila knew about the predators in her server. Camila tried to hide evidence and after 26 minutes still hasn't uttered a word of the crimes they had committed. It's been a while since I've actually gotten pissed off at a video. It's just so frustrating. It's knowing people will believe her and not check her for her lies that bothers me so much, and the fact that she's completely fine lying to her audience. It blows my blood even more. The Spanish section of her video is the only part I'll say is good, as she isn't spending the majority of it fumbling around like a clown trying to avoid taking responsibility. To Felipe, I first want to apologize for not listening to you. I've been going through the worst things that have ever happened in my life. I simply couldn't think straight and the worst person. I had trusted the worst person possible. For that, I do apologize. But in the other stuff you've put is that I would practically pay you an exposure. I'm not sure. I remember clearly that in the post that I made on Facebook with the first animation of my series that you commented on the post asking, can I make the music for your series? I don't have money to pay for it, but it doesn't matter. Let's do it. It was like a deal with another friend. We both benefited from this. Your channel grew and I can enjoy your musical talent, but it was a situation of friendship we had. Compared to everything, this part feels really tame in comparison, but I want to highlight just how toxic this friend group was. Everyone in this group were all two-faced creeps. Nix, if you agreed to work for free, don't complain later on, you dickhead.
To finish this video, I guess a sort of suggestion, if someone makes you uncomfortable ever, either real life or especially the internet, leave. Even if the cost is to stay alone, just leave, because I just learned that the hard way. It's just not worth it. If you have a community and you think you can handle it, don't give your trust to people that you don't really know, that you haven't seen face to face, because anyone can put a facade on the internet for years and just keep it up that way. I'm not doing this to victimize myself. I just want to say things from my perspective, how they happened from my point of view, things that have marked my life forever. I think that the bad things came with a lesson that, like I said, I learned the hard way. And I don't want to cause any more trouble for anyone. I'm trying to regain my love for drawing, which I lost. I'm trying to regain the positivity I had, which I lost. And I'm gonna take my time. It's really hard for me to speak about these things. I'm not really used to be this exposed. At least I managed to stay together, I guess, the whole way through, so that's a plus. And yeah, I'm not going to allow comments, I think, on the video, because I'm not interested in reading anything that anyone has to say about the things I said in this video. I just wanted to tell things from my perspective.
In this god-awful video, a video that never addresses the issue people had with Camila and doesn't even mention anything Veer or Artie did. The video where she only gave an honest response with evidence 26 minutes in for some stupid friend drama. In this video that disrespects the intelligence of her viewers and the horrible stuff the victims had to go through, she spends the last few minutes making it all about herself. About how she trusted the wrong person, about how it was her being manipulated, about how she was a victim and just... This wasn't a single apology given in this video to Crystal or anyone actually affected. She didn't even bring up the crime Veer committed or her real involvement. She couldn't even be bothered to enable comments or hell, keep the video up. I said this before, but if you really cared about the victims and taking accountability, where is the video? Why is it no longer on your channel for everyone to see? Camila Cuevas is a person who has never cared about anyone but herself. The reason she never cut off Veer is because it was no longer profitable keeping him around. The reason she even made a response is because she couldn't ignore this anymore due to the massive amounts of backlash everyone's videos caused. From the moment this all resurfaced until now, Camila has shown how little she cared about anything and anyone. Not her fans, not the victims, nothing. That's it. It's finally over. There isn't anything else I could possibly say about Camila Cuevas that wouldn't be repeating myself. So this is where I will end everything off, hopefully for good this time. If Camila is watching this video, I want you to know that this isn't going to be forgotten and people aren't going to stop digging. Eventually, you'll have to address this again. And when this happens, we'll see how you respond. You were offered multiple chances to become a better person and you never took any of them. Expecting you to change was the biggest mistake I've ever made on this channel.
So in the 8 months since I've posted this part of the video, originally I truly did think that everything would be fine. Ideally, Camila would have made efforts to improve and also actually apologize and attempt to be more respectful to victims of the situation. I said ideally for a reason, because Camila is one of the most prideful people I have ever had the displeasure of talking about. Nix and Jill silently left after throwing Camila under the bus, but Camila would make another response to all of this, which, why? The first video was so bad that you unlisted it faster than I could finish the sentence, and I personally clowned on you for it, which means your career is basically cooked because my channel of 60,000 has that type of power apparently. Before I can even talk about Camila's video, I have to address the elephant in the room that is the Senate's involvement in all of this nonsense, because who could have ever seen the gang of traumatized pedo hunters imploding when people actually start to pay attention to the stuff they were doing? I might talk about this in detail in the future, but quick rundown: some of the main members of Senate were terrible people who allowed their own personal biases to dictate how they handled very serious situations. Because I and many others weren't checking them when we should have, they ended up getting big heads and doing very stupid things. To be honest, stupid doesn't even begin to cover all the shit they did, but look, I'll just move on before I talk about how these dudes specifically did me wrong. They ended up muddying things a lot, to say the least, and lots of people began to dismiss the original point of the crusade against Camila. It also wasn't helping that one of the bigger channels involved no longer exists. Anyway, people were taking the stuff a bit less seriously, and then Camila dropped another video titled "Sexual Abuse? What the hell happened?" Title of all time, folks.
First of all, I'll answer the question, why didn't you do this before? Because of two reasons. One, I was having the worst time in my life, dealing with the loss of loved ones, and I wasn't in a good mental state to talk to anybody. Fainted, went to the hospital, got depression meds, whatever, you don't really care about that. But second and most importantly, I wasn't in the mood to talk to mentally ill people on Twitter. If they decide to take things from Twitter to video form, even more of a reason to not do so. That's why.
This is a quote, because I was mostly sound-minded when I made my videos on you. And secondly, I have to once again mention that one of the people she's referring to was acting as a wingman for a nonce, who Camila defended and then played League of Legends with. Ah yes, the most mentally ill crowd. People who aren't okay with a person defending multiple pedos, being the absolute worst and trying to say that they are the victim. The second person was Streamline Workshop, who tore into Glitchtail for over an hour. I'm actually in that video, so check it out. The first 40 seconds of this kind of say it all. Camila hasn't come to terms with the fact that she had done goofed and managed to gaslight herself into thinking that the past year was this stressful situation that she just didn't deserve.
I figure neither me or my audience cares about a Twitter post really, what it has to say about me without any insight, basing their opinion on some random post, someone talking about sexual abuse or grooming with my name on it.
No. People in my audience don't care. Ignore all of the comments of people in her audience caring. And she doesn't care either. Really, she just... She just had to make this video because of how little she cares, so that we all know that she wouldn't care.
Some of you also say talking about it just brings more awareness to it. Well guys, sorry, but this has reached a point where I sadly have to step down to the level of these cockroaches and consider taking legal action for how ridiculous and outrageous the accusations have been. Hard pill to swallow for some of you here. Being under 18, 15, 14, whatever, doesn't give you the right to be disgusting, sexual, and inappropriate around people and then blaming the adult next to you for not stopping you. I'm not your babysitter, much less your damn parents. If you didn't learn what was the weight of your words, well, too bad, don't pin it on me. It may sound to me a bit aggressive, but I'm livid.
Oh wow, yeah, no, she's completely fucking delusional. Like, every time I think she can save this. She can totally save this, and then she calls people mad at her for defending child groomers, bloody cockroaches. I promise you that people would have been less mad if she apologized last year. The story here is that she was just too prideful to ever just stop and think rationally. Like, morals and ethics aside, as a YouTuber, looking at this as a business, how is this even remotely helping you?
Now, here. Clarify, during this time I was 12, 13, being exposed to unethical content, as well as normalized behavior within the server, would often react to things sexually in a way of shock humor, usually in reaction to Camila posting art animation progress. You mentioned being 12, 13 years old, being exposed to NSFW. Not by me, by whatever source you say you had. I had no idea how old you were, by the way, at the time. If you said it in chat, I pay no mind to it. Asking someone's age wasn't in my list 5 years ago or so. Didn't matter to me. All I wanted was to share my art in the server, nothing more, nothing less. I don't know who showed you that, but that's because you normalized it.
What the hell is even happening? Like, fully mask off telling minors that they normalized being exposed to NSFW in your server is incredible. Every excuse here doesn't even work because there is a screenshot I already read out where you acknowledge doing NSFW acts with minors is bad. I'm a huge nerd, so of course I was documenting this stuff. Did you think I was just gonna forget? You just make this so fucking free.
We have, that's not me, by the way, that's someone else talking about it, weird emojis, and here's me saying, we gotta make a book where we describe in detail all the amazing things Dark's PP has done, from destroying a building to creating and destroying a universe. Now, wow, did you hear that? I said PP. Goddamn unforgivable.
One of her points earlier was that she wasn't directly talking about the minor's pee-pee. Now, when she actually is, it's suddenly not a big deal. I'm not surprised consistency was never Camilla's strong suit. I'm more questioning why you would admit to making these kinds of jokes with minors and then saying it wasn't a big deal.
The apology I made regarding what happened in the Discord server is still to this day in my community tab all those years ago. But guess what? People told me that other YouTubers picked this video that I made and slapped the word apology on it. And went as far as to say that I took advantage of mourning for a loved one to victimize myself. To all of you who did that, you really are the lowest of the low. How miserable do you have to be to always assume the worst on someone you've never met in your life and dehumanize them for clout? Absolutely disgusting. And again, I'll repeat it for the idiots who are still whining about my apology not being there. I already did. I apologized not only in public, but in private as well, with those who deserved an apology. Because from all of you watching these videos, from reading or getting this issue and you know, be present as an spectator. Let's be real, you don't deserve an apology for being groomed.
There's an old saying that I think works oh so well here. Never interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake. That really wasn't an option here because she just says this, like, unprompted. Maybe next time write a script and get it proofread before telling people they don't deserve an apology for being groomed, while you actively watched it happen and tried to suppress the information on multiple different occasions. I should have already explained why this video exists. It was so that there was a video explaining all of the awful shit Camila did. It was firstly to have a video going into what Camila did without having a personal vendetta against her, or telling victims not to give YouTubers information so they could then say they didn't do enough research. God, I still can't believe that's real. But it's also to show everyone that despite just how much things have changed since the first video I almost posted 2 years ago now, and just how little Camila had in the same amount of time, she is still denying her involvement with the glitchtail groomers. She is still trying to paint everyone mad at her as people constantly wanting apologies that she'd already given, which just isn't true. Fragile ego, fragile mind, fragile heart. Whether it's people making fun of her dogshit show, or people telling her defending groomers is bad, she responds by lashing out, claiming everyone is insane and terminally online, and how little she cares while posting a fucking video talking about how much this pissed her off. At least the other two had the courtesy of just shutting the fuck up after they got in trouble, but not you though. And honestly, that might be for the best, because it's allowed people to see exactly the type of person you actually are. Do I think any of my videos on this situation will do anything? No, not really. There are people much bigger and older than me that turned the situation into an ego war and messed everything up. But considering one of my videos is the first thing that pops up if you type Camila's name into YouTube, maybe if people get curious and start looking into that stuff, that would just be great. Thanks for watching the video. I don't know if this is cheating, but this is a pretty long video, right? I want to move my channel away from talking about pedos, but then the whole Senate stuff happened, and then I realized that suddenly the main people going on to Camila weren't a thing anymore, and because of that I want to compile everything into one video so you can understand everything without having to worry about the YouTuber you're getting your info from being a crazy person. I want to thank my 5 Donald channel members: Killer B, Some Dude, Levi, Sabin, The Wolf Drake, Hobby Yellow, Nate Russman, Israfel's Fire, Ant, Pwep, Nekucho Official, Grizzly Bear 1996, and Kinda Snowy. And with that out of the way, I think I'll be heading out. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. See you lads.